Hey, Bree. Thank you. I'm still working on it. It's still a little too like I'm gonna have to do it one more time before it's like the deep color that the ends are that I've been that I've been having. So, but I have to do it twice every time. So I'm gonna give it. My scalp is tender because I have to bleach first and then I put the red over top. So I'm gonna give it about a week or two and then I'll go over it like one more time with the red. No more bleach. God. I really want like my whole head this color, but the bleach, I don't want to like totally ruin my hair. But my hair is strong. It does really, really good. Hey, clearly notifications are not going out. I'm trying to edit my thumbnail, and it's funny because sometimes it'll let me do it, and sometimes it won't. And today is a won't day. I'm trying so hard not to. I give up. Men are stupid. I just give up. I don't know. It won't let me edit it. Maybe it'll let me do it after. But no, it's let me do it before. Why won't it let me edit the thumbnail? I barely got any sleep yesterday. And like before work, I had like 3 hours that I to take a nap. So I tell this guy, okay, it's been nice talking to you. I gotta go take a nap before I go to work. He proceeds to call me again and text me again. During first he texted me and then he called. Or I can't remember. I was so tired. I can't remember. So I was just like, well, didn't I tell you I was taking a nap? I needed to take a nap. And then he turned around and called. And I cussed him out. I cussed him out then. I was like, what is wrong with you? Didn't I just tell you? I said, did you really need to call me for that? And he was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So then today, or I talked to him like at work a couple times, like early this morning, and I was like, I'm tired. I have some errands to run, and then I'm going home and taking a nap, and I got to get up and going to sleep, and then I got to get up and do YouTube. So when I tell you I'm trying to sleep, and this dude messages me at 12:28 p.m., 12:50 p.m. 12:28 is hello. 12:50 it's hello. 12:51 it's how are you. 12:45 I'm aggravated and I'm like, cause I still really wasn't asleep. I was working on my hair. So I wasn't checking my phone because I'm in and out of the shower. I have to wash it to get it clean so that the everything will take properly. Then I gotta put the bleach in, then I gotta wash that out. Then I gotta put the color in, then the red in, then I gotta wash that out. So like I'm in and out of the shower 3 times this morning trying to get my hair done, and I was redoing all of this. And so at the same time, while my color was sitting, I was like, well, I got to keep myself awake. I got to do something. Can't fall asleep with this bleach in my hair. So I redid this area and got my water fountain in the back. So I didn't see the hello, how are you? And then I was like 12:40. So 12:54, when I responded to him, I said, fine, still tired. So I'm trying to go back to sleep. So then 12:56. Okay. So then 3:42, what are you doing? I was asleep. I ain't respond. 5:42, what are you doing? Didn't respond. 6:12, I called you. So he called twice. and then 7:12, hello. So when I woke up, I responded with, you are crazy. Can I sleep? It is hard working my chef. I'm on my feet cooking for 9 hours. If I say I'm tired and I need to sleep, why would you call and text me constantly? Especially last night when you woke me up twice for nothing when I told you I needed a nap. Why would I want a relationship with someone who has no respect for my well-being? I got off this morning, ran some errands, did my hair, and went to sleep. I have kids and grandkids, so I don't like to turn my phone off in case of an emergency. And they all know that I sleep all day and work all night. So they don't call unless it's an emergency. But today I had to turn my phone off because of you. It's clear you have some kind of mental problem. And then he says, I'm really sorry. I said, sure you are. He said, "No, I am really serious." No, the fuck you're not. Because you're stupid. Stupid. Just stupid. I can't deal with stupid. Right. I can't deal with stupid. Oh, hell no. In the times that he called at 7:12. No, 6:11 and then 7:12. Bitch. Well, I called you. And motherfucker, you don't pay this bill. You don't pay the what? What? Stupid, stupid. Just a whole nother brand of stupid. Just a whole nother brand. Hey Edith, how you doing? How are ya? Okay, y'all. So welcome to Miss Enjoy's Tarot. I'm Miss Enjoy. For everybody who had to suffer through my fussing just then. I mean, but the dating world and people don't understand why I just oh God, there's nobody. There's nobody out there. There's one person. There's one person. Just one. And I gotta wonder why he's single. I'm so serious. I really do. I don't want to, but he's very kind. He's yellow though. I keep saying that. I like dark chocolate, and he's yellow. But I've been trying to step outside of my box, so I really haven't been like boxing, putting myself into or like looking for a type. Or I've been giving anybody a just sort of short, tall, light, dark, clearly even crazy. But so I've been trying to be an equal opportunity dater. It doesn't matter. And so I'm really not, you know, I'm really not put off by the fact that he's yellow. He's still a very attractive man. He's wildly intelligent, and he's lonely. He has no family or friends here, and he's gay. He's employed because he works where I work, different department. He's in security, but I just he's not. I invited him to dinner, and he was working. So we'll see. It opened a door. We had some conversation about some things we really hadn't had before. He told me more about his personal life. He is very hi Margie, but he's so intelligent and he's musical. I think I've talked to him. I've talked to y'all about him before. He's musical. I love that. So anyway, tonight's topic for Cosmic Chat is world religions. I took world religions 1 and 2. World Religions 2 was primarily based on Abrahamic religions and the Old Testament. So it really kind of didn't touch, but it was what I really needed to know because, you know, when Christians come at you, you have to know more scripture than they do. And train, and oftentimes I do. So while your head pounding, Edith, you need to drink some coffee. The only active ingredients in Excedrin is actually caffeine. So if you drink some coffee or drink an energy drink, then that ought to help. Which I didn't. I was so tired running around today, and I was right in Family Dollar and forgot to get my Monster. So I'm out of sorts. I don't have my Monster, y'all. But I got a little bit of coffee left, so hopefully that'll get me through. I need my caffeine when I read these cards. So, I was at work. So, world religions. I took world religions 1 and 2 in college. I know you're not a coffee person, but step out of your comfort zone because it's more for medicinal purposes. You can do it, or go get you a Monster or a Red Bull or something. That really will help. I promise. The caffeine will work. That's what I do. It's actually for when I had a migraine about a week ago, and it really helped. My nails and fingers are still, I'm red everywhere. I don't know if y'all can see that, but everywhere is just red until I get my, worked on my hair today. I went through so many pairs of gloves and then still just touching it and combing it, it leaves you red for a couple of days. It's got to like set in. So, so yes, coffee, Edith. We promise. We promise. And but I'm serious. Next time you're in a drugstore or Walgreens or CVS or wherever, read an Excedrin bottle, and there's really much not. It's mostly caffeine, really. So, like I was saying, our topic for Cosmic Chat tonight is world religions. Um, there, I took awesome notes. Now I have no fucking idea where I put them. None. I'm like, where the fuck? They're probably in the car, honestly, but I don't feel like going out there. It's cold out there tonight. But a lot of it is in my head. I honestly kind of just went over it to refresh my memory. So, on World Religions 1, we touched on all of the religions that he could possibly get in because, there's way too many to actually cover in a one semester class. So basically, most of the majority of the world falls under the five major religions. Three of them being the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Then you have Buddhism, which is a major, which is most people who are, there's a lot of Buddhists. Most of the country of China, Thailand, and in that region, they're Buddhist, largely Buddhist. And then we have the next one under that would be Hinduism, which is actually the oldest religions. In order of appearance, it would be Hinduism. I have a sneeze coming. A sneeze coming. Excuse me. Woo. So there would be Hinduism in order of appearance. And see, I had like I can remember my notes. I had the years even written down as to what let me pull it up. But Hinduism and then Judaism, and then you would have Islam and Christianity coming in and kind of erupting about the same time. And actually Buddhism before Christianity. Buddhism and Judaism started to evolve about the same time. All right, so thank you, Margie. My eye is itchy. Both of them. He like apologized. They said I really am. I just hit him with a whatever. Whatever. Person needs to sleep. They need to damn sleep. I don't understand people. So we're small, y'all. It's just us in here. Marie, I forgot to tell you, Tonisha, remember her? She reached out and apologized and was like, "Can I come back?" I was like, "Yeah." Marie said you'd be back. Okay, so I hate this search engine. Oh, I hate this search engine. So basically, I'm so out of sorts because my notes were so on. We know most of. Okay. Let's start with the oldest one. Now my nose is itching. There we go. Okay. So Basically, the Hindus believe that Brahman is the ultimate God. Even though Hinduism is considered a multi theistic religion, you got two types of religions going on, okay? You have polytheistic religions, which means having more than one God in worship, and monotheism, which is only one God. When technically there's actually only one that is actually a monotheistic religion. And I would have to say that would be Islam, because they believe that Allah is the only God, one and only true God, period. There's no connection to anything else. There's really not much of a trinity that they even acknowledge Jesus, but they acknowledge Jesus as a prophet, just like they acknowledge Muhammad as a prophet. So they don't see Muhammad as a god, they see Muhammad as a prophet. um so I would have to say they're really like one of the only religions that really hold true to being a monotheistic religion, because when you go into Christianity, you have Yahweh, who is the head God, but Jesus is also worshiped as a God as well. And then there's what's called the Holy Trinity, which you all know is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit is given some worth as a God-like entity as well. So technically, I don't consider Christianity monotheistic, because even if you just narrow it down to God and Jesus, they're still considered a Yahweh and Jesus. They're still both considered gods by Christians. Um, Hi Sharon Snipe, how are you doing? But within Hinduism, they believe in Brahman, and he's kind of like the head god. He is the major god, but he is from whence all other things were created. So you have other gods that fall under um, Brahman, and like I said, everything comes to earth, the other gods, the world beyond the universe. Everything is linked to Brahman, to Brahman. All right. The text that they would follow, which did not ever originally occur as text, the Vedas, they basically were handed down through song, and through poem, and through word and story over the years. Finally, someone got around to writing them down, but it depends on where and which culture you're a part of as to how it actually, what is actually said. Hindus believe that there is Atman, the soul, the self, living in every human being. Atman in Hinduism is defined as an internal, imperishable, and beyond time, eternal, imperishable, and beyond time. They do believe in reincarnation. They were the first to believe in, and I think that's profound. For one of the first major religions, because they are the first major religions, Hinduism dates back before Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and any other religion, Buddhism, any of it. So they believe in reincarnation. They believe based on whether or not you adhere to your dharma and pay off or suffer through your 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 dharma, which is your purpose in life. Okay, it is what you're put here to do, what you're put here for, and how you fulfill that purpose will contribute to your karma, whether you do well with it or whether you do poorly with it. And then in your next life, you will come back, and if you fulfilled your dharma in the previous life and you have good clean karma, you will have a better life the next time around, which feeds into which they try not to feed into that anymore, somewhat, somewhat. But the caste system that they have over there, and I had the levels written down as well. I was on it, y'all. I don't know what I did with my damn notes. Um, Whether you came back as a, if you did poorly, more than likely you would come back as a, and what's called an untouchable, which like you did the like bottom level jobs. You would like clean up behind others, trash, uh, sewage, toilets, things like that, yucky stuff. And if you did even better than that, you would come back as a higher level. They're peasants, servants, and then you had the traders, upper level workers, and then you have shaman and or well priests and priestess and monks and things of that nature. They are the highest and ascended level. And then once you've reached that level, then of course you don't have to come back. You become one with Brahman and the universe, and somewhat, and you have done what you need to do. So um, they believe under Brahman there are other gods. Let me tell you exactly what it says here. So, okay, but basically, the Atman is something that cannot be destroyed. That is your soul. It simply moves from one body to another, and its sole purpose is to get absorbed into Brahman. Like I said, once you've fulfilled your karma and your dharma and your karma in each continuous life until you become one again with Brahman. The Atman can be understood from car, body, and the driver, Atman, for example. A car is useless without a driver, and a driver can move from one car to another until it reaches its destination. Okay? Hinduism believes in a supreme God. The supreme God is known as Brahman. Vedas define Brahman as the pervasive, genderless, infinite, eternal truth and bliss, which does not change. Yet it is the cause of all the changes. Wait, yet is the cause of all the changes. While he does not change, he causes all of the changes in the world, in the universe, in us, etc. The gods and goddesses in Hinduism are the human manifestation of Brahman, so that people can visualize each aspect of him and find better understanding. And like I said, since Atman is trapped in a continuous cycle of life and death, one must achieve salvation through dharma and karma to reunite the Atman with Brahma. Every Hindu is free to choose the deities that he or she wishes to worship. As the ultimate aim of life, Atman is to unite with the Brahman. Therefore, Hinduism gives complete freedom to every individual to pray to his or her God at his or her convenience. Even if someone does not pray to any God, he or she can still unite with Brahman depending on his karma. The god and goddess in Hinduism defined as he, she, or all powerful and all knowing and all loving and immanent, present everywhere and transparent and translucent. Hindus believe that the ultimate truth is the divine truth or the divine one, Brahman. To reach the divine, there are multiple paths, and it all leads to one. It can be summarized as truth is eternal, but paths are different. Okay, so the gods under Brahman, there are three main gods in Hinduism known as the Trinity. This is what I was saying when I've said, if ever you've heard me say in any of my previous videos, that most religions have some form of a Trinity. Like you said, like I said, within Christianity, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And so for Hinduism, It's the Lord Brahma, the creator, Lord Vishnu, the preserver, and Lord Shiva, the destroyer. It is also believed that God is present in every individual as Atman, the soul, okay, known as Antaryami. All right, each god in Hinduism has a different area of responsibility. For example, Lord Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. Lord Sarasvati is the goddess of knowledge. Goddess Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. Lord Hanuman is the god of service and devotion. Lord Gartikeya is the god of war. Shani Dev is the god of justice, and Yamaraj, the god of death, etc. One can worship god or goddesses per his or her convenience. Hinduism believes in the concept of, I cannot say that, Ardashna Ardhanarishva, Ardhanarishva, the combination of masculine and feminine characteristics. It means that every man has female traits and every female has male traits, and also represents the unity of Purusha and Prakriti. Hinduism is the only major religion in the world which worship God in both male and female forms, as well as with and without any attributes. Dharma is righteousness. Artha means of money. Kama means right and desire. Moksha means salvation. And that makes up the four major goals in Hinduism. They're also known as the Purushartha in Hinduism. Dharma is a key concept in Hinduism, which means that which upholds. There is no single word or translation for Dharma in Western languages. Dharma signifies righteousness, truth, sacred laws, ethic, duty, justice, religion, and the laws of nature. All of these things are to be adhered to in order to have clean karma. Karma is another Hindu concept, which means the law of cause and effect. It means that if anything a person does, whether good or bad, will eventually return to him in this or future life or a future life. A popular way of expressing this is, and like I said, it's one of the two things that are present in all religions in some form. What goes around comes around. What you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay? Um, Artha is another important concept in Hinduism. The word Artha has multiple meanings and difficult to explain in one word. Artha can briefly be explained as the meaning of life, and it includes material prosperity, the capability to, make a living, maintain yourself, yada, yada, yada. Moksha is the fourth and final concept in Hinduism. The word moksha means liberation of self actualization, refers to freedom from samsara, i.e., the cycle of rebirth and death. The ultimate aim of Atman is to obtain moksha, and it can attain moksha through means which every human being should follow. Okay? All right. So that's a lot. That's very similar to Buddhism in the fact that, you have to live a certain way in order to achieve, what's the word in Buddhism? Lord, y'all. I wrote all this down and now I'm tired and basically to return or become one with the universe. Um Oh Lord, it's on the tip of my tongue. Mm, mm, mm. It'll be there when we go into Buddhism, which we're going to do next. Enlightenment. Thank you, Edith. I love you. Thank you for saving me. Right, enlightenment. So, which is basically the method that Buddha taught, or a lot of the teachings were to lead you to a path of enlightenment as well, which we're going to go ahead into Buddhism. So, let's go ahead into Buddhism next. Um, the Siddhartha started out as a regular man, just like any other of us, but he was a prince. He was born a prince. And while his mother was pregnant, she had a dream where she was visited by several gods or entities. And she was basically told that of the greatness of this child that she was about to have. So because of that, she felt like she should do anything at all costs to protect him. And he was very, very shielded and sheltered. He wasn't allowed to go out and see most of the world. He was pampered and offered everything that a prince should be offered, and treated very well in life. He was even chosen a wonderful wife and had children and all of that. So somewhere out there, there were descendants of Buddha, of the Siddhartha. So he got out one day. He got out there. And he saw things that he had never seen before sitting in the happy castle. He saw suffering. He saw people hungry. He saw people struggling. And he wanted to know more about this and why. And so he went out there and he began to have different experiences. And as he began to have those different experiences, he started to realize that pain and suffering were an essential part of life. And that the only way to escape pain and suffering was to reach enlightenment. So I just scream and look down. Thank you. I wish we would get to the point where I could hear y'all, where we could have like both way conversations. Um, um, so basically, he went out there and was like, okay, well, I'm going to experience all of these things. He was very hungry for a long time. He fasted and experienced starvation. He gave up all his worldly possessions and beings. He left the castle. He went out and met people and meditated and learned the hardships that life had to offer. These things brought him to the path of enlightenment. It is said before that life, because I would have to assume that they were Hindu, because that belief kind of feeds in somewhat to Buddhism, being the fact that he would have been at the top of the caste system, he being a prince. You understand? Well, then going out and becoming a priest, or not, well, not really a priest, but one who taught and led others. That is indeed what priests do. So you can put whatever word on it you want to, but he began to teach and lead others once he realized what life was about. So basically, there are the eight. Let me pull it up. I hate this search engine. I have to really take time to fix this. Once again, Buddhism speaks about karma. What comes around goes around. Buddhism inspires us to take responsibility for our own lives without moralizing by understanding cause and effect. Just like gravity, the law of karma functions everywhere all the time. Buddha explained in great detail how we shape our future through thoughts, words, and actions. Um, and that's, I'm looking for the eight. Okay, here it says the Buddha was special because he was the first person to attain full enlightenment recorded in history. But there is no essential difference between the Buddha and us. We all have a mind and we can all attain liberation and enlightenment by working with our minds. This is not telling me eight noble truths. Let's just go right to it. Come on. Where are you? There we go. So the way to enlightenment is to follow the eightfold path. It's the noble truth. The eightfold path of Buddhism. Okay, so right understanding, understanding that the four noble truths are true and noble. Should I start with the yeah? We'll go back to the, I'll tell you the four noble truths in a couple minutes. Um, so right understanding, understanding that the four noble truths are noble and true. Right thoughts, determining and resolving to the practice of Buddhist faith. No, that's kind of not right. Right thought is not just acknowledging and being Buddhist. It's not having any impure or nasty thoughts. I mean, there's a lot I don't say, but I would be nowhere near this because in my head I'd be thinking some shit, boy. I'm telling you, I couldn't do it. I understand this concept, but I don't see how. It's very difficult. Aside from doing what monks do and just like or and priests that have taken that vow of silence and live in a monastery somewhere, I don't see how this is possible. Even then, there's got to be another monk that just irritates you. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a very pure thought process to not think anything negative of anything or anyone at any time ever. Because let me tell you, the stuff that go on, and then I hear my spirits be, my ancestors just be, there was a mess in life and would cuss you out, and there's no different on the other side. They say some shit. They really do. So I guess that would still be in part of my thought process. I could be talking to a person and have a complete smile on my face, but in the back of my head, I'm like, this person is a complete and total dumbass. And that talks about the next one, the right of speech, avoiding slander, gossip, lying, and all forms of untrue and abusive speech. Y'all know moving forward, right conduct, adhering to the idea of nonviolence, ahimsa, as well as refraining from any form of stealing or sexual impropriety. Now, when they talk about sexual impropriety, they don't mean willing, full, consensual sex. They mean rape, violating, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. Right means of making a living. No slaughtering animals or working at jobs that force you to violate others. Where they do that at? Okay. I mean, I cook animals all night. I don't know if that counts. I don't kill the chicken and the beef and the pork. Do I have any pork? Yeah, we got ham. But I serve it. So I don't know if that counts. right mental, and then it does force you to violate others because you, in a way, sort of, kind of, because you do have to tell people what to do, and sometimes I'm told to give people messages and do things that I wouldn't want to. Anyway, I don't know, not really in this job, but it's happened, you know. um okay. Right mental attitude or effort: avoiding negative thoughts and emotions such as anger and jealousy. Right mindfulness: having a clear sense of one's mental state and bodily health and feelings. And see, these things become harder as life progresses because having a clear sense of one's mental state and bodily health, if you're not mentally stable, how do you have a clear mental? You see what I'm saying? If you're crazy, what are you supposed to do about how do you, I mean, you know, that's like a oxymoron to me. How do you, that's the catch 22. You're crazy. How do you, you're not right. You just, okay, I know I'm crazy. I'm just going to not be crazy. Okay. Right mindfulness. I'm sorry, that was right mindfulness. Um right concentration, using meditation to reach the highest level of enlightenment. Okay? So these things are it is very, very, like I said, you would have to go be a monk somewhere and just really honestly just sit on a pillow and eat vegetables and talk to no one, then do nothing and just chill and meditate. And there would be no, you just, I can't. So, anyway, so now before that, it mentioned the Four Noble Truths. So, which I don't know why that's not here. Okay, four basic beliefs. No, this is not telling me what I need to know. So it's the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The first noble truth is life is suffering. So basically, like I said, when I went to the other side, why would I want to come back here? This is just, and that's what my grandmother ultimately raised me to believe. When you're Wiccan, first of all, you don't believe in the devil per se, like Christianity believes in a devil. Um, you believe that there are evil entities out there, spirits, whatever, because technically, as you know, angels and demons are the same species. The devil was once the highest seraphim. He was once the highest angel. So seraphim is the same species. It's just like us, whether you choose to be a good human or a bad human, whether you choose to be a good seraphim or a bad seraphim. Um, so we look at that a little differently. And what I was taught was that exactly what I experienced the other week is that once you get to the other side, therein lies your peace. Finding peace here is very difficult because this, like what Buddha is trying to say, is that here is the suffering. And that's what my grandma used to say. There's no place that you go when you die, regardless to what you do here. Like people say, you're going to hell. There's no hell. There is a realm known as Tartarus. None of us are important enough to go to Tartarus. Okay, maybe Donald Trump is important. Okay, I'm joking. I'm joking. But none of us here are important enough to go to Tartarus. Tartarus is for those evil entities that I speak of that choose to be evil or are evil or demons or things of that nature that get cast into Tartarus, creatures, otherworldly creatures, and things like that. The Greeks and Romans basically said that some of the original creations of of what was his name? The one who ate all the children, and then Zeus freed them from him and vomited them back up. I can't remember his name, but the Hecatoncres were his first creation. I cannot think of his name, and a lot of them and he were imprisoned there in Tartarus, which he was the original creator from Nyx. Then came he and Gaia. Then came their creations, or the Hecatoncres. It's you got to go study all that, which that's a part of what we're doing here. So I may pull that up. Anyway, um, right. It's kind of like purgatory, even, but it's not really for us. We are different because we are reincarnated souls. Our souls don't die. We just come back, come back, come back, come back. And then some of us choose to stay on the other side and help. And there's, some of it, as we talked about the concept of a bodhisattva, those that choose to come back here and help. So basically, we were talking about life is suffering, and that's what my grandma taught me. There is no place that you go, like Christians say, oh, well, you lied, you stole, you killed, you're going to hell. There's not like that. You would pay for that in this life in some form, or that karma could be spread out over multiple lives because a person can't incur so much karma that it would damn near kill you to pay that shit back in one life. But think about it. Some people do suffer their karma through being killed. But the thing about that is also I do it, and one of the things I don't care for in relation to Christianity is that death it's made to seem like death is a punishment or a bad thing. And so I've gotten kind of insensitive to death as a sort of sorts. It like, okay, I mean, everyone has to mourn. I completely understand that. It's the ongoing mourning that I am insensitive to. Because unlike other people, and I have to give them that credit, and I try to go easy on people, but no one goes anywhere. I talk to dead people all the time. It's just like they moved away somewhere and you can't physically touch them or see them. And if you were to become in alignment with yourselves, you could do just what I do, or what Edith does. And when you hear those spirits from the other side, and you could talk to them like it's nothing. Because like I was in the car one day with my mom, and my grandmother said something to me. And my mom was like, I wish she would talk to me. And my grandmother was like, I talk to the bitch all the time. She's not trying to hear me. Her mind is too clouded. She's not in touch with her higher self so that she can hear her. And she was like, well, she thinks it's just her and she's crazy. And I was like, well, that's what a lot of people do. Most of the time, that voice that you hear that like, spoke or whispered in your ear and you thought, no, I'm crazy, or a thought pops into your head randomly, that was someone talking to you. Because think about it. How is it that no one just sat there, for instance, Nikola Tesla? I highly doubt that, and a lot of other people throughout history have talked about visitations, whether it be in dream or in meditation or just sitting here, if it doesn't freak you out, visitations from other beings or the other side that gave them information to build this, create this. For like Noah, someone came to Noah and said, hey, it's about to rain, bruh. It's about to rain. It's about to rain hard. It's not going to stop. God is tired. He's going to flood all this shit. Grab two of each species of animals, male and female. Get your family, get a couple peeps. build a boat. And they said, Noah, what are you doing? I'm building a boat. Why are you building a boat? Because somebody told me that it's about to rain. People said, Noah, crazy as shit. He was already albino. We thought something was wrong with him. That boy crazy. That man is crazy. Shit. Do you think? So, I mean, there are people over time, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, like I said, Nikola Tesla. I could go on about the people that received the information they received through message, through visitation, through none of that. Just you didn't just sit there and create some shit out the blue. That knowledge was given to you by some higher form or being. Period. There are things that I did, and people, when I do my readings, people say all the time, there's no way you could have known that. How did you know that? I mean, like with Margie, knowing the name of her spirit guide without ever having spoken to her a day in my life till she popped up in this chat. That information comes from somewhere and you have to be open to it. So I can't understand. I just don't understand people's way of thinking when it comes to death and that fear that Christianity instills in people related to death. So my grandmother taught us that there's nowhere that you just go. Right. Right. He cut off his ear because he heard messages all the time. Exactly. And like Pablo Picasso, he wasn't a drunk for just no damn reason. He was hearing shit. He thought he was crazy. No, you're not cray cray. Just listen and focus and understand what's being told to you. Um, so like I said, my grandmother taught me that the suffering is here and that when you don't go anywhere and you don't go burn in hell, your soul, how does your soul burn in hell? How does that happen? What? So it's a fear that's instilled to someone. If you don't be good, you're going to hell. No, that's not how it works. What you should say is, if you treat people like that, if you do this or you do that, it's going to happen to you. You're going to feel in some form, on some level, in some way. It may not be the same way, but you're going to feel that pain. You're going to suffer that suffrage. You have to pay back that karma. So, that being said, that is basically what this is saying. Life is suffering. The suffering is here. And what we do, how we handle it, and how we conduct ourselves and live our lives helps us to ascend to the next level, to reach enlightenment, according to what Buddha was saying. The second noble truth teaches us that this cause of suffering is greed or desire. Yeah, that's what gets most of us in trouble. Because you want something or someone or to do something or to have something, or you know what I'm saying? So then therein people, but see, that's hard too because honestly, how many of us, unless, like I said, you go be a monk and you live at the monastery, and I think they'll like farm their own land. They even make their own bread and they like do their own stuff and they eat pure things and yada yada yada. So unless you adhere to that type of life, you have to work in the world. And out here in the world, it's hard. It's very difficult, and you're a very good person to sit there and still think kind thoughts about the boss who is nagging you, is inconsiderate to you, your needs and your feelings, and getting on your last fucking nerve when you're busting your ass and doing the best that you can. It's hard. I said it's hard out here for a pimp. I'm just saying. Excuse me, y'all. I had a UGK moment. Okay, so. All right, Edith. Caffeine. Hi, Jennifer. How you doing? Hey, Sissy Ba. Hey. After this, I'll probably do some questions if we don't take too long. So I just wanted to, I was want to touch on I'm touching on the five major religions, which Christianity, Buddhism, I mean Christianity, Judaism, and Muslim, we're gonna run through them quick. Muslim being the one of the most complicated of those. Islam, technically. Um, we're on Buddhism. So the cause of suffering, most suffering, is greed or desire. I mean, yeah, that's what gets most of us in trouble. The third one is how you just gonna stop like that? Because you want me to click on it completely. Letting go. The cure of the suffering is to release all that. Like I said, the only way possible that you can really do that is to do nothing. Especially like if you have kids. Because if you can't just release your children, you have to take care of them. So therefore that keeps you in the world. If you're going to function in this world, to achieve enlightenment is completely very difficult. Very, very difficult. Like I said, which is why nuns, priests, monks take the path that they take. They take vows of celibacy. Some of them take vows of silence because that's the only way. I forget where it was that I heard it, but basically, what I was told was the people that are lucky and actually have a chance at this are people who can't have children. Because the minute you have a child, you have incurred karma. Period. You have incurred karma. There's no way out. Once you have a kid, you're stuck in this cycle for a little while because you're not going to do everything right. Nobody can be the perfect parent. Nobody can be the perfect person. You have to provide for that child. That sends you out into the world. You have to work. I cannot achieve enlightenment as a cook. I'm dead ass serious. I cannot achieve enlightenment and dietary and my job because them people, whoo, honey. So the minute you have children, you have acquired karma. Bad karma, period. Period. Because you can't be perfect. You can do the best that you can, but you cannot be a perfect parent. You can try. You can try. You can do your very best. I feel like I've done my best. But they still got issues, some of them. Everybody's got issues. And this is what it's very hard for me to grasp about an organized religion of sorts. Because everybody's got issues. I mean, the brain is not, you have to, when I pull that card in the Moonology deck that says balance, spirituality, and practicality, you indeed have to do that. You indeed have to look at the spiritual and the scientific and the practical. So that's why I don't follow most of these religions because to me it's slightly unrealistic. I more believe, like I said, in the soul contract form and that it takes a long time to work out each individual issue that you have because things are going to happen. The physical body that functions on this earth is indeed fallible. Like there's a saying where a lot of Christians will say, God won't put anything on you that you can't handle. But at the end of the day, that's not true. How many people have you seen have a complete and total fucking nervous breakdown? And then Christian people will sit there and say, well, if you pray, no. There's not that much prayer in the world. There is not that much prayer in the world, and none of us are that perfect. Example, I grew up with, we didn't get along until this happened, and then it was more of like oh my God. It was the first experience in my life that made me realize that that made me say to myself, I will not hold a grudge. I will not judge another person. I will not dislike someone for no apparent reason because we were petty little kids and there were two little girls that lived across the street that we didn't get along with because of some grown people stuff. Okay. Basically their mom had an affair with our friend's dad and it caused a breakup in their marriage. And kids, you hear things, you know things. So we all kind of shunned them. And that wasn't our business. And I learned that at like 11, 12. I was like 11 or 12 when this happened. But basically, because they were the same age, they were like 11 or 12. I think we were exactly 12. We were all the same age. They were at the bus. They were twins. They were identical twins. Beautiful girls. I don't remember their full names, but we used to call them TT and CC. And I don't remember their full names. But they were at the bus stop one day with their other friend. They had one other friend, and I don't remember her name at all. And this guy came through drunk. And they're standing at a corner at this bus stop, and he tried to turn the corner too fast. And he hit all three of them. And he killed two of them. One of them, the only one left, being one standing twin, who woke up from a dream screaming, "Where is my sister? Where is my sister? Where is my sister?" I was so heartbroken for her. And despite when I did finally see her, which was at a neighborhood function that summer, I just grabbed her and hugged her. And that was like, no, I didn't have to say I'm sorry. We were cool after that. We hung out a couple times. I mean, it really taught me a lesson about not judging others, because you just never know what life has. And to hold a grudge against someone over some petty shit that really wouldn't even have nothing to do with you was not something I was ever going to do again. So, how do you move on from certain mental setbacks? Life does indeed hand you shit you cannot handle. People break down all the time. You seen Snapped? Okay, Sissy Bye. Pain, anguish, hardship, it affects you mentally. The mental state is a physical thing, and that leads into the scientific part of it. There's a whole study. I went to school to be a psychologist. I know the workings of the mental brain. If you hit the back of your head here, which is where your hippocampus is located, if you ever seen the movie Hancock, in order to erase his memory, with Charlene, what's her name? Charlize Theron and Will Smith, in order to erase his memory, she kept hitting him in the back of the head, which is where the hippocampus is located. That holds all of your prior memories, all of your long-term memories. If you're hit in certain areas, you cannot function properly moving forward. So to adhere to some of this is very, very difficult. That's why I say when you pull out, I pull that card from the Moonology deck that says balance spirituality and practicality. You have to do both. You have to take science and the physical state of being in a human body and balance that with spirituality in order to achieve any type of realistic functioning in life. Because people do indeed get handed more than they can handle. God won't give you anything you can't handle. Bullshit. Bullshit. I was 26 years old with a dying husband and 5 fucking kids. Say word. I'm supposed to just handle this while everyone else is looking at me like, well, what's wrong with her? Why is she unhappy? Why is she stressed out? All y'all kissing my ass. Okay? And if you're not going to help, shut the fuck up. But none of that happened. No one would help, nor would they shut the fuck up. I snapped. One day, and then you're sick and you're dying, but you're cheating. So, upon that, one day, I got up. I did a spell to call in my twin flame. That was my fault. I did that. I don't know what caused that. I don't know why. I do know why, because it was a path I was supposed to go down. I couldn't get through college because this man was constantly sick and on my damn nerves with all these damn children running around here that you can't help with, that you're supposed to be able to help with, but you won't manage your health well enough to help with. I met masculine. I said, apparently, I said there's a path for me. I couldn't pass my class. I couldn't get my degree because I kept failing college algebra and statistics. I couldn't handle that shit. I had worked so hard to accomplish everything I had accomplished, to be a good wife, to be a good mom, to go to school, to do the things I was supposed to do. I was trying to go to church. I was trying to adhere to other people's wants and needs and telling me what I should do and what I shouldn't do, and still not helping and talking shit while having next to nothing. And I just said, fuck it. I'm gone. My girls were beginning high school, and I was like, everybody's old enough. I've done my job. They can cook, clean, and handle all this. I have to go and find my path. And so that's indeed what I did, which is very similar to what Siddhartha did, because he had a wife and kids. And Buddha cut out and went on his path of enlightenment and did so. And I here with you am on my path. Okay? So there's a lot of things that make this very difficult to do. Like I said, unless you're going to go be a monk, just sit there like the golden child and eat twigs and figs and talk to no one in the middle of the woods somewhere alone. I don't see how. And last, the fourth noble truth is the path is the truth of the path that frees us from suffering. So the third noble truth was to release everything. Like I said, go sit in the woods, eat your twigs. Don't talk to nobody. Don't have any children. Because like I said, that immediately inquires karma. Because now you're responsible for another person. And that's a very difficult thing to do perfectly. And the fourth noble truth can we go back to the basic? Understanding. The fourth noble truth is that understanding the truth in their entirety takes a long time. Common sense, like I said. Common sense. It takes a long time and is extremely difficult to do. Okay? So that's Buddhism as a whole. I hope that I related that to life as well, because you can tell people the basics of a religion, but to completely understand where you're coming from, you really got to go deep. That went the wrong way. Okay. Now, I need water. I will take a water. I'm going to go grab a bottle of water in a minute. Okay, now, that covered Hinduism and Buddhism. So, hold on. Let me go grab this water. Oh. It is so hard to get into a rolling chair on a hardwood floor. Okay. Okay. Here we go. My camera angle still turned the way I didn't want it to. Well, no, because, yeah, okay. All right, so now, so that was Hinduism and Buddhism. Did anybody have any questions? Okay. So, hey Marie. I moved my trash can. I'm still working on this area. It's a work in progress. I've got to turn my lights on. So, that was 2 of the 5 major religions. The next 3 kind of all run together. And you know and love them well. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. They kind of all run together. Like I said, because your Christians used to be your Jewish people. You're Jewish people. Yahweh basically, according to Christianity, is the creator. Let there be light, First Testament, Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden. You all know the story. Eventually came Abraham, who was really the first to kind of be told, okay, this is how everything went down. The creation story, Genesis. Abraham had to give sacrifices. So, which is why when Christians look at other religions and say, well, they do animal sacrifices, Abraham did indeed have to sacrifice some animals to please Yahweh. Okay, go back, read it, it's there. I should have been prepared. I have my Bible somewhere. From there, you had Moses, who delivered the 10 Commandments. I know them, but I want to give them to you in order. Which was the basis for how Christians should live. Not Christians, I'm sorry. At this point, we're Jewish. Jewish people should live their lives. The 10 Commandments featured in Exodus 22 through 20, chapter 20, verse 2 through 17. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. So number 1 in the 10 Commandments is you shall have no other gods before me. Now see, different Bibles have extra wording. Some of them, and my professor that taught World Religions 1 and 2, he also taught my ethics classes. I love him, Dr. Hank. We call him Dr. Hank because his name, and I cannot remember it, is something amazingly long and complicated that I cannot remember. He was no longer, but at one point was a Lutheran minister with over 80 hours in religious studies alone. What that means, if you know anything about college accreditation system and hours and classes, you know that's a lot. Okay? When I say it's about 80 to 100 hours, depending on what you take, in order to get your bachelor's degree alone. You're looking at 150 hours or so if you're going to be getting your master. No, I'm sorry. To get your master's, I would say you're looking at more like 120 to 130, depending on what you're taking in order to achieve your master's degree. In order to be getting your PhD, it's going to vary vastly at that point, depending on what it is you're taking. For instance, you know that if you're a physician or a lawyer, those credit hours are going to be way higher than if you're trying to PhD in some type of science, biology, or something like that. Um, so he was a PhD. Clearly, his name, we called him Dr. Hank. He had earned his doctorate. He had over 80 just religious study credit hours alone. That's not counting any Englishes, maths, sciences, or other topics that he had to take in order to get his basic degrees. Okay? This man was the religious walking shit. Religion and ethics are the two classes, or the classes that I took from him. I took two ethics classes from him, and I took World Religions 1 and 2 from him. He was amazing. And philosophy class. He was amazing. Um, and like I said, he had been a Lutheran minister. And in some translations of the Bible, the thing about the Bible is that it began in, I can't remember. I can't remember if it began in, I think it began in Hebrew, or did it begin in Latin? It was translated from one to the other, from either Latin to Hebrew or Hebrew or Latin. And from there, it was translated into all other type forms of languages. Okay? Clearly, you have Christians in Germany. Therefore you have a translation in German. You have a translation in Spanish. You have a translation in English. You have a translation in Italian. You have a translation. You get what I'm saying? Um, there are even churches in Houston that there are Asians who are Christian. And so therefore it's been translated into other languages. But in some forms of the Bible, there is actually where it says, I am the Lord thy God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. There are scriptures, some Bibles that state that goes on to say that he is a jealous God. Or it's worded, I am a jealous God, and you shall have no other gods before me. So in some of the Bibles, that's been removed to make Yahweh look better. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You shall not, number 2, you shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, Lord your God. Okay, no, it does in number 2. Okay, it does say it right here. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, to the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments. So basically, what this is saying is, if you don't worship me, I'm going to smite you. Fuck you over. I'm going to get you. And if you do good, then I'll bless you. So, do what I say. All right? Number 3, you shall not take the name of the Lord God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless, who takes his name in vain. Current Jewish people, current followers of Judaism, take this very seriously. I grew up on Long Island. Lots of Jewish people. My grandmother cleaned house as she was working her way through school. Well, not really clean house. She was a home health care aide and a nurse. And so a lot of times, a lot of her clients were Jewish. And you had to know about things like keeping a kosher kitchen, which is having it cleaned and prayed over in a certain manner. Kosher foods, what can and cannot be eaten together, and having those foods prayed over and prepared in a certain manner. Sit in Shiva, which is a practice of mourning when someone has passed on, and what to say and not to say around these people. Jewish people take that very seriously. They do not say Yahweh. They do not say God. They do not. They do not. And if we were all respectful of other people's religions as we should be, these were things that when I was a kid and growing up, did not say. If I'm having a conversation with my homegirl Susan Eckstein, which she's a shout out, I love you. She probably doesn't watch my shit, but she is one of my Facebook friends to this day. We were very close in elementary school and junior high school. And Marina Zahn and Wayne Gottlieb, all of these people were Jewish and very close to me. And I was taught at a very young age by my grandmother to be respectful of their beliefs. And you don't say God. You do not say God. They do not say it. They say He. They'll say Him. They'll say Father. They will not let it roll off their lips. They take it A1 seriously. They don't play. Right. I agree, Edith. Why would you? Right, exactly. So, okay, you said it was Hebrew, Edith. So it was from Hebrew to Latin, and then there from Latin, it went to like Italian, and then to, you know what I'm saying? It went to so many different languages, and there was so much really lost in translation. But anyway, so like I said, Hebrew people, Jewish people take this very, 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 very seriously. They do not say it. They will say He, they will say Him, they will say, Father. They will not say God. They will not say Yahweh. They will not speak His name. And you bet not have a picture or something that you call or a depiction or train. Number 4. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work, nor your son. Now they will say it when reading the word. They will say it when reading the word, but because that is His word and that is how it's delivered. But other than that, and within the realm of that, they won't out just in context, just in convo. Nah, I ain't saying it. Okay. In it you shall do no work, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested that's the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. For those of you who don't know what hallowed means, it means holy. See, this is my other thing. This is my other thing with number 4 here. And with Genesis. I don't, but I'm not a follower of Yahweh. I'm not. I believe He is a God. And like I said before and said many times, there are many, many gods. He is not the only one, because if He were, who would He be jealous of? Okay? All right. So that being said, He's not the creator. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend nobody. But honestly, the whole universe was in a hot, dense state in nearly 14 billion years ago. Expansion started waiting. and then bang. And here we are, the third rock from the sun that is perfectly placed in the sweet zone so that our planet was able to create life, because there were dinosaurs before us. Okay? So that does not resonate with me. And a lot of Christians have, everybody's got a creation myth, because nobody truly knew how it happened until science. So that's, once again, back to balance, spirituality, and practicality. You have to indeed consider both. You really do. Okay. Not to say that with the creation of the known universe, and the fabric of time, there are many supernatural things that have come into play because we have matter and many forms of it. You get what I'm saying? I hope so. All right. Because there are theories that are being worked on that, like string theory, multiverse, where there are other planes of existence, clearly, because I hear them on the other side. And I don't know. I've been there. I mean, so clearly there's more to it than the visual. But like my son, who doesn't believe in any specific type of God or entity on that level, he does believe in the supernatural. And he believes that the supernatural ties into the science. And kudos to him. So that's kind of indeed what I believe. But I do believe that there are gods. But I simply believe that these are beings that have achieved the moksha and the enlightenment, and have gone on and actually come from other places and other star systems and other universes. I and have knowledge that we don't have as of yet. Okay? All right. There's so much. There's so much. The universe is enormous. Okay. So, the fifth one is honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord God is giving you. Yeah, that one has gotten a lot of people screwed. Because, yeah, in a basic normal function, yes, you definitely should. Marie is a kick-ass mom. Her kids should definitely be honoring her. Her father was a good dad. She has honored him and done the best she can by her parents, and that is awesome. But sometimes you get a mom like mine, whose intentions are not pure and are not always good, and you can't possibly honor someone who's really out to fuck you your entire life. So, oh yeah, we talked about, yes, Edith, you talked about your mom. Yes, so you've got to, you have to, so this has screwed a lot of people over. I watched a movie, it broke my heart, and I cannot tell you what movie it was. I watched this movie when I was like 10 or 11. It was in black and white. And the father was basically being incestuous with the daughter. And what he would use in order to do this was that scripture. Moving forward. 6, common sense. Thou shalt not murder. 7, common sense. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And some people look at that one as like it only benefits one person. Men, look at that like, why should I have to adhere or be faithful to? But when you commit adultery, you bring other things into that aspect. For instance, on either side, if you go out there and you're a woman, you get pregnant, and it's not your dad, your husband's baby, that's hurtful. That's hurtful to you. That's hurtful to the child. That's hurtful to the man that you got pregnant by, who now has a kid by a woman that's, how complicated it can get. You got the woman who lived up the street from the wife and the husband who raised 2 kids that look just like his kids, but she was the side chick, and those kids are illegitimate, and everybody in the neighborhood knows, and they're looking, and they're whispering, and they're pointing, and they big red letter A, the scarlet letter, these things, thou shalt not commit adultery. It's also disrespectful to yourself as well. I tried to explain this to masculine, that when you're running around and you're careless with your seed, you got 4 baby mamas and all these children, you disrespected yourself. And your life is now fucked up because you didn't respect yourself. Yes, I've watched The Handmaid's Tale, honey. I have. Ooh, honey. I sure have. I'm waiting for the next season. COVID's got everything screwed up. Okay. Thou shalt not steal. You shall not bear that's number 7 was thou shalt not commit adultery. Number 8 is thou shalt not steal. Number 9 is thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't be lying on people. Don't be out here lying on people. Okay? And number 10, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. That ain't your shit. Stay from over there. That's not your shit. That's not your business. It's not for you. None of that. Mind your business. Mind your business. Okay? Okay. So that was the basis of Christianity. And in the First Testament, when anyone strayed from any of this, there was smiting to be done. Okay? On several occasions. That's the reason they told Noah build a boat, because everybody was messed up. Everything was messed up. That's the reason for Sodom and Gomorrah. They were messing up. They were smiting all through the First Testament, all up and through the First Testament, which took us out of Judaism and led us into Christianity, because God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, which brings in the ancient Sumerian story. And a story from ancient Egypt, I believe it was Osiris, possibly. I have to look that up. And Muhammad as well, where you have the creation of a child by God with a virgin. Jesus was not the first one in this prophecy, or to be prophesied in this way, or to be of this said story. This story has been told repeatedly before Jesus. So Jesus is not the first son born to the virgin sent by God. This has occurred in many other cultures. It's kind of stolen. So what Islamic people and a lot of other religions, because me and Wiccans and a lot of other religions, we do indeed acknowledge Jesus to be great. We do indeed acknowledge that the message that Jesus was trying to convey as a prophet, which is what Edith is, and is what I am, and is what Marie is as well, even if she doesn't acknowledge that or know that. When you're in touch with your psychic side and you're sent here to deliver messages and you're sent here for a purpose to lead people to their greatest and highest of good, you are a prophet. Just like Jesus and just like Muhammad. So, that being said, Jesus came along. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. And Mary brought forth a child into this world. There are theories about that. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But in a time and in a land where a single pregnant woman was stoned to death, I might tell a little story too. Just saying. You don't know how it happened. Joseph took responsibility for Mary. Regardless, he said, okay, I'm gonna marry Mary. We're gonna raise Jesus. It's gonna be okay. Jehovah. Okay? Right, Edith. Leading people to level up. That's right. That's right, Edith. You got it. That's on point. And like I said, I do acknowledge that Jesus was an awesome prophet with a great and wonderful and beautiful message that was trying to lead people down the right path. I think people just misunderstood when he said, I am the Son of God. Aren't we all technically? Duh. I am the King of Kings. Is that not what, when you go into, I'll talk to it in a minute and talk to you about it more in a minute when I get more into Islam. And when you go into the subcultures of Islam that have been created by the African American culture, where you have the Nation of Islam currently led by Minister Louis Farrakhan, and in the past you had the great honorable Elijah Muhammad, who Malcolm at the time that Malcolm X was alive, who was running things. There you see a lot of black men go to jail, and they'll come out and with what my mom and them in New York used to call 5%ers, or they consider themselves God within themselves, while yes, giving all honor to Allah, they themselves see themselves as God, because we are created in that image and are given all the same power of, and even the Bible says that. So they consider themselves gods within themselves. So that being said, I think that was more so where Jesus was going with that, and he was persecuted heavily for being misunderstood. Seriously. So when Jesus came along, though, he said things. He said things like that were, like I said, vastly misinterpreted. Like, judge no man by what he eats. This was not talking about pork or anything like that, although there's sections in the Bible, and I believe in the Quran, where it talks about the impurities of eating certain foods and certain meats, which is where that comes from, not this teaching, not that scripture. But people interpret it that way. He wasn't talking about food when he said, judge no man by what he eat, that it was a metaphor by don't judge me based on what I do. And in the wicked term stating, and in harm none, do as you will. The wicked ready. If I'm not hurting you, mind your business. So if I have a wife and I'm a wife, that's not your business. How is that hurting you? Don't judge anybody by what they do and how they live their lives. Just do you and live your life, and be kind to your brother and sister, and be respectful to each other, and be loving of each other, and be considerate and helpful and giving and nourishing. And you know what I'm saying? He had a beautiful message. Most people missed it, but he did indeed have a beautiful message. Okay? All right. So that's how we got from Judaism to Christianity. So it is said that within Christianity that basically Jesus died for your sins. You would first have to believe in the concept of sin, which sin would be to violate any of the original 10 commandments. Now, the thing that gets me is that nowhere in these 10 commandments, if these are the sins to be followed, like I said just now, nowhere in these words does it say you can't love another woman or another man or have any type of alternative lifestyle or homosexuality. It doesn't say, you got to dress like this, or you got to you have to, it doesn't say any of these things. It's just what people have insinuated. And there are stories within the Bible that teach good moral compass, but in translation, like I said, from the Hebrew to the Latin to all other religions, there's been changing. With every king that sat in England, they changed the Bible. There are scriptures and entire books, for instance, the book of Enoch, which goes more into the supernatural and other things that we don't know about the God Yahweh. There's even a section in the book of Enoch that talks about Yahweh not actually being good at all. Because if you have an agenda, how can you be good? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Which is one of the things we're going to talk about in our next Cosmic Chat, which will be about philosophy and ethics. So Jesus supposedly died for your sins. And to absolve your sin is a little different depending on which Christian culture you follow. With Catholicism, you go into the priest, you go into confession, and you're going to offer your confession, and you're going to receive penance for that confession, and you're going to pray that away. Be it with Hail Marys, or some cultures call it a Ave, or you get what I'm saying? Um, in other cultures, you simply just have to repent as a whole. You have to acknowledge Jesus and accept Jesus into your heart and as your Savior, and that God is the one true God and all that good stuff. And you are absolved of your sins. Like I said, some have confession that needs to be done, some don't. Some believe it's between you and God. Like I said, in Catholicism, they believe you got to take it to the priest and actually confess to a priest. It's different, like I said, from culture to culture. But ultimately, that's supposed to be the reasoning for Jesus having been crucified, to take on that sin. I don't get how that. I don't get it. I don't get it, because how does just saying um forgive me get forgiven? Is there no suffrage, like Buddha said? Is there no karma? So you don't pay for what you do because you told somebody and you asked them to forgive you, and a person that had nothing to do with said situation. For instance, it's one thing if you killed my son to come to me and say, please forgive me, I'm sorry that I killed your son. But to have to go to a priest and say, I'm sorry, I killed her son, how does that absolve you of said sin? It shouldn't be, nor is it, that easy. Karma. Um, right. It's saying you don't need a third party. Exactly. That as well, Margie. Why should you need a third party if that is in fact the case? Um, so a lot of things with that become iffy. And that's wherein a lot of people that, and actually as of late with Corona and all that's going on in the world, a lot of people are turning to other forms of spirituality and beginning to question if they were raised with Christian roots. Because there's so much that, and then the other thing that my professor, that Professor Hanks said, Dr. Hanks said, was that there's a catch 22 for almost every situation in the Bible. For instance, thou shalt not kill, but there are times of war, right? So you have to kill in order to, and did they not with the Crusades go out upon the world and say worship Yahweh or you're going to die? To where people had to begin to worship the gods that they actually and originally believed in secret and private. There were wars just between how you worshiped, between when the Irish and the English, that the Catholic and the Lutheran Church were at war. What kind of shit is that? Nah, you can't pray that way. You got to pray like this. Take your ass to confession. You know? So that definitely goes against what was it? Number 6, thou shalt not murder. So, I mean, exactly. So, exactly, Edith, and Margie. So you get what I'm saying. Um, and still, there is suffrage to be had. There's still that karma to be paid. I don't care. Nobody gets off scot free just because they ask somebody for forgiveness. You're still gonna pay, and most of the time, by the time somebody comes to you, like you were saying, your brother did, sometimes, so before somebody even gets to the point where they come to you to make that apology, or they want to come to God and make that apology, they have done that suffering. And that's what made them realize, hey, I need to fix this somehow. And a lot of times it starts with an apology. But there should be some type of behavior or something more than a prayer. You're going to pay. There's karma. I don't care what you believe. You're going to pay for what you did. I'm just saying. Just saying. So that's how we got from Judaism to Christianity, to where more people actually, there is God, yes, but more people call on the name of Jesus than they do Yahweh. So, because he was the more forgiving, he put an end, that action put an end to all the smiting and the fires and the flooding. Because he set Sodom and Gomorrah, he set the city afire, and he rained down fire upon the city. And when Noah built the boat, he flooded everything because he was just done with said situation and wanted to start from scratch. So he picked good people, good family, all the animals, put them on the boat, save them only and them only. Okay? So when Jesus came, that put an end to all the smiting at the very least. So you got to be at least grateful for that, right? So moving on to Muslim, which comes, Islam. It's complicated. I have more notes on that than anything else. So, within Islam, you have the 5 pillars, okay? And what they follow is the Quran. If you ever heard the thing about the virgins, not true. It's not in the Quran. Islam means submission to the will of God. Now, they are like one of the only ones who really, I would say, I consider to be a monotheistic religion, only believing in one God, because number one is the one true God. Allah is the one true God, the one all-knowing, omniscient God. They consider Muhammad, while they do pay homage to him, they consider Muhammad just a prophet, as they should Jesus, but they have God, they have given Jesus God status. Followers of Islam are called Muslims. The followers of Islam aim to live a life of complete submission to Allah. They believe that nothing can happen without Allah's permission, but at the same time, humans have free will. Islam teaches that Allah's word was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad through the angel Gabriel. Muslims believe that several prophets were sent to teach Allah's law, okay? Because they do, like I said, acknowledge Jesus. And they also show respects to other prophets that came from Judaism, including Abraham, Muhammad, Noah, and Jesus, okay? The mosques are where they worship. All Muslims at some point in their life are required to take a trip to Mecca, the Kaaba shrine in Mecca, the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, and the Prophet Muhammad's mosque in Medina. So, but at some point, those are the holiest of mosques. But all of them are required at some point, if you can, as a Muslim, you're supposed to take your ass to Mecca at least once in your life. I have an uncle who, if I ever come into the money, I'm sending him to Mecca, because he really he needs to go. He is true to his shit. It has been since I was a kid. Went to jail, came out Muslim, you know. You know the story. All right. The Quran is the major holy text of Islam. The Hadith is another important book. Muslims also revere some material found in the Judeo-Christian Bible. Followers worship Allah by all praying and reciting the Quran. They believe that there will be a day of judgment and life after death. Central idea. Now, see, Christianity believes that as well. They believe in Judgment Day, the resurrection, and then you go on to an afterlife. Muslims believe that the idea in central Islam in Islam is jihad, which means struggle. While the term has been used negatively in mainstream culture, Muslims believe that it refers to the internal and external efforts to defend their faith. Although rare, this can include military jihad if war is needed. So, in other words, they're willing to fight to the death to defend their beliefs. But who isn't? The Prophet Muhammad, sometimes spelled, yeah. We don't need to know about spelling. He was born in Mecca, which is why that is so very important. Saudi Arabia in 570 AD. Muslims believe he was the final prophet sent by God to reveal their faith to mankind. According to Islamic texts and traditions, the angel Gabriel visited Muhammad in 610 AD while he was meditating in a cave. The angel offered Muhammad to recite the words of Allah. Muslims believe that Muhammad continued to receive revelations from Allah for the rest of his life. Starting in about 1613, Muhammad began preaching throughout Mecca the messages he received. He taught that there were no other God but Allah and that Muslims should devote their life to this God. There are lots of prophets, like I said, that have come after. There's a big list of them here. The caliphate system. After Muhammad's passing, Islam began to spread rapidly. A series of leaders known as caliphs became successors to Muhammad. This system of leaders, which was run by the Muslim ruler, became known as caliphate. The caliph was Abu Bakr, Muhammad's father-in-law and close friend. And then he died and was succeeded by another father-in-law of Muhammad. And then it just went on and on and on and on and on. Cousins, and it went on and on. If you've heard of the division between Muslims, the Sunnis and the Shiites, when Muhammad died, there was a debate over who should replace him as the leader, and that's what caused the split in the Muslim faith. The Sunnis make up over 90% of the Muslim world. They accept that the first four caliphs were the true successors of Muhammad, and the Shiites apparently do not. Shiite Muslims believe that only the Caliph Ali and his descendants are the real successors to Muhammad. They deny the legitimacy of the first three. Today, Shiite Muslims have considerable presence in Iraq, Iran, and Syria. Okay? There are lots of other types of Islam. One that's more, like I said, it's more prevalent in this country is the one that is known and linked to mainly to the African American culture. The issue with, if everybody wants to know, and one of the hey Sharon Snipes, hi, a lot of people want to know that is God incarnated into human. Okay, I got you, Marie. But at the same time, he still sat on high while Jesus was here, and that's where, and in that theory, I'm confused. But I do understand what you're saying. But it yeah. I got you. But I understand that, Marie. But when you go into the Nation of Islam, which, like I said, is currently led by Minister Louis Farrakhan, and previously, prior to him, was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was found to, by the fact that he said he was supposed to spread his seed as much as possible, impregnated lots of women, and didn't, within the faith, and did not take care of said children. And for those of you who don't know, we don't know to this day whether it was someone within the Nation of Islam that commissioned the murder of Malcolm X, or was it the government, or a combination of both. I tend to think that it was more within the Nation of Islam, because he was about to expose the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for the hoe that he was. God forgive me. But that's what it was. Now, the other issue that they took with him was that the Nation of Islam also stands somewhat on the belief that of separatism, that white people or black people should not commune and soil and muddy our blood. They're, white people that believe the same thing. They don't believe that there should be a mixing of cultures and blood and ethnicities. It gets dicey because it was built on a standing of, we're not going to follow the white God, being Jesus and Yahweh. We are going to follow a religion that came from our motherland, which indeed Islam did, but at the same time, so did Christianity. So there are also faiths of Judaism, because you have the Israelites, who are technically a spinoff of Judaism, and they're black. So there are brown, black, Jewish people that originated from the motherland. So it gets dicey when you go into these areas, because, like I said, there are a lot of the cultures are of the belief that there is to be separatism, and that we shouldn't mix ourselves and mix our blood, which is one of the things that is prevalent within the Nation of Islam. And it was taken of issue when both, they didn't fuck with Muhammad Ali like that, because he was not preaching. He was Muslim. He was a Muslim, but he did not go out and try to. He stood by his word. He stood by his beliefs, and that he went to jail. He did not go to war. He was drafted into the Vietnam War, and based on his beliefs, he did not want to fight. So he went to jail. They sent him to jail. That man was not playing. He stood by his beliefs. So they didn't mess with him that much, because he didn't speak much upon his other belief, but he was in agreement and very close to Malcolm X. But Malcolm X took his pilgrimage to Mecca. And upon arrival, before kneeling to pray, or at a point in kneeling to pray, he rose during prayer, and he looked around. And when he looked around, what he saw was all kinds of people. He saw Asian people, and he saw white people, and he saw brown people. And that, for him, he wanted to bring that message home. That yes, while the Nation of Islam was constructed of a purpose to defend our culture, to defend the culture of black people in this country, and say that we should not follow this white Christian God, because that Bible was indeed used to enslave us. He wanted to relay the message that A, all white people were not bad, and B, being a Muslim was not simply just for black people, that there were all kinds of people that were under the religion of Islam. So those were the two messages. Like I said, one, he was about to expose the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and two, he wanted to make it known that all white people were not bad and that there were white Muslims as well, and that racism had no place within the confines of Islam. That while we should defend our rights as black people within this country and demand our respect as black men and women within this country, that it should have it's a separate issue from the religious factor. And they ain't like that. They ain't like none of that. So who killed him to this day is unresolved. And so, all right, Edith, we know you got your headache. We love you. Sending you healing, caffeine. So if anybody ever wanted to know and you didn't see the 3-hour movie done by Spike Lee back in the 90s, X, now you know. That were two major issues for in the life of Malcolm X, and that is why he was killed. So I'm really more inclined to feel like it was more so. Now I think the government killed Martin Luther King, but as far as Malcolm X, I think his own people got him because they were calling his house, they were threatening his wife, they set his house on fire. It was bad. It was bad. So, okay, good, Edith. Good. So that covers the 5 major religions. Now I'm going to talk briefly about some of the other things that a lot of us believe, or touch slightly on what a lot of us believe. When you say Wiccan, which is what I primarily am, is the practice of witchcraft, given reverence to nature, given reverence to any god or gods that you so choose. That being said, there's a fine line that runs between, for instance, if you've ever heard of the witch in the United States, one of the most popular witches in the United States was in practice out of Louisiana, Madame Marie Laveau. She was Creole and she was also Catholic. So it's about what you embrace and what you believe. And most witches are like myself in believing that there are many gods, and you can basically call upon those gods, those demons, those angels, those Loa, as they're called within Vodou or Voodoo, however you choose to pronounce it, religion. Madame Marie Laveau dealt with both. While she was inherently Catholic, she also practiced voodoo. She also, and therefore had to call on the Loa that are within voodoo. Some of the voodoo gods and goddesses are, I know you have my mom, depending on how or your culture says it, Brigitte, which is, I started with her because you will have people ignorantly argue. I am saying it's ignorant because honestly, she is the only white Loa within voodoo. So, and her husband was Papa Legba, which he is the key. He holds the key to the underworld. He goes back and forth between this realm and the realm of the dead. He's one of the most well-known Loa, and for a good reason. Like I said, he's a gatekeeper to the lower world. He's the one that is said within the voodoo culture, if you are trying to make that so-called deal with the devil, that's who you would actually be using or communicating with. He has the key to, because it says, standing on the crossroads between the human and the spirit world. Anyone calling on a spirit must go through him first. So he is usually the one most saluted during a loa or a voodoo ceremony. So basically, if you even wanted to work with any other of their deities or loa, you would have to ask Papa Legba to grant you um, access to any of the other loa. Um, he's usually depicted as, and if you've ever seen the pictures, with a hat of some kind, smokes a pipe, uses a crutch to walk, always has a sack on him to carry his offerings. He's very relatively peaceful, but can be a bit of a trickster. Um, like just like it's said that many other mythical creatures are, like a leprechaun or a jinn, which is which in the Middle Eastern cultures, a jinn would be a genie or anything else that would grant you a wish. There's going to be a trick to it. You may ask for millions of dollars, but you get it because your husband dies. You see what I'm saying? Shit like that. um, he's in charge of all points of intersection. So basically, when it said you go to a crossroads to call an entity to grant, and this is present in many cultures, not just the voodoo cultures, it to grant you to make that deal with the devil, so they say. Um, it can be done at train tracks. It can be done at intersecting highways, gates, doors, which some people we call the in between. Um, and his counterpart in the Catholic Church would be Saint Peter. So when you link voodoo and Catholicism, these are the things that they would be looking at. So Saint Peter would actually be the same thing as Papa Legba. And that was used to kind of cover up and mask the use of voodoo still going on at a time where it wasn't accepted. And why you see a lot of ties to those women like Marie Laveau, who were also Catholic. I hope that clears some of that up. Um, because Saint Peter was the in charge of Heaven's Gate, and that's like a pass. That was the pathway between this world and the other. If these pop-ups don't get out of my way, what the heck? Okay, whatever. Here we go. You have Urzuli Dantor. She is depicted as the Black Madonna. Okay, so that would be a link to Mary in Christianity or in Catholicism. She's mute. Her tongue was cut out to ensure that she would keep secrets. And many women who have suffered abuse will invoke her for her strong powers of protection, which she shows through her aggressive and wild side, as she has a love for knives. Her sister would be Urzuli Frida, and they have a rivalry. She's usually depicted with her child and showing caring for her children. She is basically the oversees or protects women and children. Baron Samedi is just another very popular Loa. Samedi. He's the one that you always see wearing the suit with the tails and the top hat and has a skull for a face. He's the one in The Princess and the Frog, which actually was like kind of a combination of Papa Legba and Baron Samedi. He's the keeper of the spirit world and the ruler of the dead. So anyone wishing to connect to someone who's passed on and go to the other side must go through him. He rules over sex and debauchery and obscenity, and he's known for smoking and having a very dirty sense of humor. And he's the one that's married to my mom, Brigitte, another powerful Loa associated with death. She is the only one that is white. All of the other Loa are black. My mom, Brigitte, is Irish. There's a story about how he met her and fell in love with her beautiful skin. He helps souls cross over, but he's also able to cure diseases if he is invoked properly and offered the right thing. So this is the thing with most of the voodoo gods. You have to offer them something. You got to give them something. And while it's seen as evil, that's what I was saying about Christianity back in the beginning. Abraham did indeed have to give Yahweh offerings. So he's no different than any of the voodoo Loa. Urzuli Freda. She wears gold rings of her symbol of her union. Wait, she has 3 husbands. Woo, get it, girl. And as a symbol of her union, wears 3 rings, and it's as a symbol of all 3. Thankfully, she is also the Loa associated with love. Her material situation is not an issue. Her verb includes a heart, which shows devotion and love. But Freda also rules over cleanliness, good luck during gambling, luxury, and refinement. She is presented as a beautiful white woman with long hair and materialistic tendencies to take. Maybe she's not the only white one then. Let me shut up. To take on, with her long hair and materialistic tendencies make her big on gifts, but also jealous of other women. It's said that many relationship problems between couples are her fault. Although she usually appears quite sweet, she can be very particular and must be asked for help in a way that she approves of. Met Kalfu is the twin brother of Papa Legba and helps control the crossroads between the living and the dead as well. However, Kalfu is considered to be more of an evil twin and is known to only let bad spirits cross over. While Legba's righteousness caused him to be more old and frail, Kafu stayed young and strong and is said to be tall, muscular, and handsome. Because balance is needed in the world, he is a very important Loa and is necessary to complete Papa Legba. Kafu's power with black magic leads people who desire injustice, misfortune, and destruction to call upon him. Despite being a feared Loa, he is also respected. Maman Brigitte. Okay, the wife of Baron Samedi is considered to be the queen of the cemeteries and of the spirit world because her roots, Scotland, not Ireland, her roots became from Scotland rather than Africa. Like many other Loas, she appears as a beautiful white woman. So there are 2, my bad. With light-colored eyes and hair, she's represented by a black rooster and is said to watch over graves as long as they are marked with a cross. Maman Brigitte's reputation as an aggressive, strong woman also associates her with justice and punishment of the wicked. Voodoo practitioners often call on her when justice or healing is needed, especially against those who disrespect the dead, or in the cases of spouses cheating on one another. Okay. Ogun. Now, Ogun is also an Orisha. Orisha is the practice of, if you hear Beyonce and everybody else talking about Oshun, and like I follow Oya, and there's Ogun, and which is a male deity, and Orisha and Loa apparently, and Shango. Those are some of the gods or Orisha worshipped and called upon within the Yoruba and the Santeria culture, which I follow Santeria. And it originates in Africa in the Yoruba culture. Okay. What? So Ogun is the ruler of unemployment. He is frequently, he's also a ruler of technology as well as politics, hunting, war, iron, and fire. It's no, he is associated with masculinity and aggression. He can frequently be seen wielding a machete and enjoying rum and tobacco, and causing general violence and destruction thanks to his warrior attitude. However, he is one of the husbands of Urzuli Frelo, that's the chick with the three rings and the three husbands, um, the lower ruler of love, so he isn't all that horrific. Since Ogun is also the ruler of unemployment, he is frequently called upon to help with employment matters. In addition, his association with iron makes him a ruler of tools, and his machete gives him power over surgery as well. There are, wait, they went into one more. Hold on. They went into one more. There are lots. Goodness. There are so many, and you can look them up. I'm just going to name the rest of them. You have Marasa Jamal, Aida Wedo. That's one of the most popular ones. It's that one is a benevolent Loa. It rules over waters and rainbows and snakes. Community, wholeness, wellness, and strength. That's Aida Wedo. And is married to Dambala, who is associated with creation and the god of the sky, next to Dambala. And there are so many more. So, like I said, that's one of the cultures, and it's how African American, well, black people. I consider, okay, I say black because I am black, and I've said this before. My daughter is married to a wonderful man from the Cameroon. Well, she doesn't think he's so wonderful lately. They're having some issues, but and he has come to this country and became an American citizen, and he is from the Cameroon, which is in Africa. He is African American. I'm black. I was born to here. Okay. And a mutt. We're mutts. That's what happens. You come here and we became infused with all. You have the voodoo people here in this country. Voodoo is usually worshipped here in this country or followed by people that are Haitian and have come here, or they are from the Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi Creole area, which was given to the French, like to kind of shut them up. They wanted a stake when everyone was taking stake in pieces of America. They were given that region because they thought it was crap, and the French were small. And if you think about it, look what's there. It is a crappy area. The land is crappy there. Look at the flooding and look at if you ride through Louisiana, it's swamp land. It's the runoff. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama is the basin, the runoff from the Mississippi River, which is the largest river that runs through this country. So they were just like, here, take this shitty swamp land and do what you do with it, France. Y'all little, y'all ain't even really got no. They lost the French American War, and this is kind of like the way they settled up. They just say, here, take Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. So that's how that occurred. And so it was settled largely by the French, and that's why they speak a mashup, a dialect of French and English, which they call Creole. I can't understand that shit, boy. When they talk that, because in Houston, you're next door. And as of when Hurricane Katrina hit, everybody went from New Orleans, Louisiana, and even parts of Alabama went to Houston. So it's like there's a lot of them there. It's always been a lot of them there anyway. But because New Orleans is about depending on how you drive, about 5 hours or so from Houston. So you hear a lot about it, and you hear a lot of them speak that shit. I can't understand that shit. It sounds sexy when the right man talks it, though. Anyway, moving forward, and they call it speaking Creole. It's like I said, it's like a mashup of English and French. Haitians speak more straight up French, more the proper French, because they're also settled by the French. A little known fact is that the Dominican Republic and Haiti are the same island. Dominican Republic just sits on the other side, and it's more mountainous or like hilly, and sits a little higher, which is why you see more flooding and destruction come to Haiti than you do so much more than the Dominican Republic. And voodoo is practiced between both cultures. However, in the Dominican Republic, you see people, and also in Puerto Rico, Cuba, Brazil, and a lot of those other areas, which were all part of the slave trade triangle back in the day, are worshipers of, they either practice voodoo, or in that region with the Latino and Spanish speaking, which in that part of the country, you have both. You have Latino people that appear just as white as the driven snow, or just as dark, if not darker than, because there are some Colombians that are way darker than me. And what it's called is Afro Latino or Afro Latina or Latinx, however you want to say it. Um, a lot of us follow Santeria. There are voodoo practices that get mixed into that, and the culture is all kinds of mashed up. So that is where I fall in. I practice Santeria. On my father's side, they are Dominicana. On my mom's side, like I said, I'm black. I am not African American. I was born here. I'm a mutt. On my mom's side, there is a picture that my grandma had, and I don't know where it went or how it was lost, but it was a picture of her grandmother sitting on her mother's lap. And that woman was sitting there in a pretty chair holding a little dark skinned baby, but she was white as the driven snow. In the town that they were raised in was this very small town of Capron, Virginia. It's also where if you ever heard of the revolt, the rising up, they didn't win, but they tried, of Nat Turner. That's where that occurred, in Capron, Virginia. My grandmother's people have the last name Artis, Artis. Back in the day when you were freed, when they freed the slaves, we didn't have a name. You didn't have a name. You were Sarah or Jane or whatever name that they gave you as a slave. And when they freed those slaves, the only thing that they could do was to give them a last name, was to give them the name of the slave owner, which was appropriate considering that white woman, that pale skinned, fair skinned woman sitting in that chair holding that little dark chocolate drop baby had to have been the offspring of Massa or one of the plantation owners. You understand what I'm saying to you? So she was half white. She was white. She was primarily white. And then you go off and you mate with another black person, because really, honestly, the goal was to return us to what we were, but that was never possible. That Caucasian blood is still there. And so on my grandmother's side, on my mom's side, she's black and white. She's very pretty, very beautiful color, very nice hair, and that carried on for our generations. Um, and then she married my grandma. She married, which my last maiden name is Cornelius. That's the name I went back to after having divorced the husband I was with for 20 years. That's my mom's father's side. And his mother was 100% Native American. No, I'm sorry, she was 50-50 Native American. And she even had the headdresses and the peace pipes from her original tribe, and her grandfather and her father, who were 100% Native American, who married a black man. I'm sorry, Native American man who married a black woman, and then their blood went on from there. So my mom is black, white, and Native American. On my father's side, it's the same thing, because you have that culture, that mixture of those Dominicans, those Puerto Ricans, the Brazilians. That's a mixture of Spanish culture, Spanish people or French people on the Haitian side, that have white people, Spanish and French, that mixed with the black people, the black slaves, the Africans that they stole. So that's where we come from. So we're mutts. I mean, you have to say it what it is, and you have to find your culture. You kind of got to get in where you fit in, you know. And so that's how I ended up practicing. Margie said, "Yep, my dad is also African Cuban." Yes, yes. So that's where I'm at, Santa Muerte. All right, that's what I'm talking about. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Florida does have a lot of Haitians, Margie, because it's close to there. Um, There you go. Yemaya Shun. Right. So, but Margie, but there are more than just the seven. Within the Yoruba and the Santeria card, there are over 200 or so Orisha. They're between 2 and 300 Orisha. Because I follow Oya. Um, um, the most popular one that has been mainstream so far, thanks to Beyonce, is Oshun, which her color is yellow. When you see her, when you see Beyonce and all that yellow, and when as she performs and she does the Sasha Fierce thing, she's channeling the spirit of Oshun. That is what she is indeed doing. So everything that you see behind me and surrounding me, my rainbow candles, my rainbow tornado, because Oya is the mother of storms. She's the mother of nine. She had five children. She was Shango was her husband, although she had several wives. Oshun was his mistress, so they don't get along too well. So I have to be very careful. I can't pay homage to Oya, to Oshun, because I'm a follower of Oya. Um, you have to you embrace your god or your goddess, and what is said is that each of us is born with a goddess or god over our head. It doesn't matter. You can be a female and still have Ogun or Shango over your head. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It's about the powers and the will and the path of life that you possess. Oh, Yah tends to unmask a lot of shit. And that kind of tends to have been my path. And I wondered why until I discovered that she was the goddess over my head. Um, which is why if you see my altar, which at a point I'm going to move my altar over here because I moved all this around. I'm going to move my altar over here. And I have masks on my altar. And I've always been drawn to those things. And you wonder why. Like one of y'all were talking about fairies and being drawn to them your whole life. You're drawn to certain things your whole life. I've always loved rainbows. I've always loved storms. Most storms scare most people. When they're saying a hurricane is coming, boy, I get crunk. I love rainstorms, thunderstorms. And the thing about Oya is that and storms is that they serve to clear out things. When a tornado hits, when a storm hits, it tears down shit so that it has to rebuild from the ground up. And after a storm, there's that freshness, there's that clarity, there's that you have to start over sometimes, you have to rebuild, but in different times in your life, that's prevalent and that's important for many different reasons. And like I said, that I've always, when I was little, my mom thought it was creepy. And a lot of people was like, why are you drawn to those things? If you've ever seen the ceramic mask or like Mardi Gras masks or masks that completely cover your face, I had lots of them. It was a thing. My mom and my grandma would buy them for me. I would paint them. I had them all over my room. I just loved them. And that was something I was drawn to. And that's something that I've done my entire life or just happens to, and I questioned myself a few years ago, excuse me, before I knew that, oh, Yah was the reason for it. Wherever I go, I just end up being the one who has to not really like, and it won't be like I have to tell or snitch on anybody, but it's like because of shit that'll go on or happen with me, a lot of shit will be uncovered. A lot of shit will come out. And I'll be like, why does this keep happening to me? Why am I the one that has to always reveal the bullshit? But that's what it is. That's why I can't. And it's like, it's very hard for my masculine for him, because he feels like I should just shut up. He feels like I should just be quiet. I should not say nothing. I can't. I've tried. I can't. I just, it's got to come out. You can't just cover that shit up. You got to say it. You can't live in secret. You can't. And that's what I tell people. I have a friend that we became involved, and I was like, look, you can't be. I'm not in the closet. I'm openly bisexual, so watch how you come fucking with me, because if you piss me off and some shit go the wrong way, I'ma out you. And that is eventually what ended up happening, because people were like, well, why is this so? Why is she acting like this? And why is she acting like that? And why is she da, 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 and why are you that way toward her? Or why this or why that? And I was like, man, it got on my nerves to the point where it just irritated me. And one day somebody triggered me, and I was like, because we fucking. That's why I'm pissed off that she's doing this or doing that, or that's why it's my business if she's doing this or doing that. Cause we're fucking. Damn it. Shit. And so at a point, you just can't. I can't. There's some issues concerning masculine that he hates me to this day because I said something to certain people about, but at the end of the day, you are what you are, what you are, what you are, what you are, and you are. But I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna bite my tongue and breathe. So, and like in the workplace, when I was working at Harris County Jail, the reason why I left the jail and ended up going to Minute Maid Park was because there was an inmate who was messing with one of my coworkers, and that's a no, that's a felony. It's a felony because an inmate is the ward of the state or the county to which they are facilitated. They are not their own person. So if you're having any sexual relationship with that person, it is non-consensual because the county or the state did not consent to that. That inmate does not have the right to consent to said sexual contact. It is a felony, even if it's consensual. So it came out because of a joke I made, and I was just joking. Okay, but one of the sheriffs went and reported the joke, and then I had to explain that, and I know all the inmates just kept coming to me and telling me that these two were in the dry storage or in the hidden back areas, and they was some shit going down. And I didn't mean that. I made a joke because she pissed me off, and I made a joke, and the joke got, so I mean, I can't. I just can't. So as long as there's no lightning. I even love lightning though, Edith. In Houston, there was this field. I lived behind this field, and I was like, they had put me in the back of the complex, and I liked back there because it was quiet. But it faced this field, and we would have over that field, there would be these most amazing lightning storms. And I just loved it. I love lightning. You see, that's the lightning bolt over there. There's the tornado. You can't see it in the picture, and I keep saying I'm gonna get some silver paint and go over them. But this is like, these are they're raindrops. And they in the print, when I had this printed, I had it printed from a picture, and they did a really good job. But in the actual picture of it, I'm gonna post it in the community section. These are like there's raindrops here, here, here. And I keep saying I'm gonna get some silver paint or just like, and like glittery and go over those and highlight them. And you know what? I'm gonna do that this week and go over that here, here, and this. So that's why it's a tornado. And that's why it's a rainbow tornado and it's a storm. And I have my rainbow candles. I finally got the water fountain. Can y'all see it? Y'all can see it. I finally moved it from up here to back there. I slid this forward to give myself a little more room. So y'all are still at a close camera angle and you can actually see more of what's going on. So, let's see. Are there any other, there's so many religions. There's so much that we covered in World Religions 1. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in. And I wish that I could find, I know I've got it somewhere, but I have so many binders with my work from college that I still have. I wish I could find those notes from those classes. Some of the things that we really that like Taoism, which is the balance, just belief in like a binary yin and yang following, basically, is Taoism, where you have to have that the existence that you can choose to be either, because both are required, the good and the bad. The existence of both is both needed and required, because without bad shit, how would we appreciate the good shit? And there can't always be good and bad, good shit all the time. You would get ultimately so fucking bored if everything was good and great all the time. I don't know, at this point I wouldn't, but that only comes from the fact that I've had so much bad. So if I was to have good every day moving forward, I'd be straight, because I had so much bad. And hopefully there'll be a point where I get to that. Hopefully. So, what else can we touch on? Um, um, let's see, there's Taoism, but I think we've covered most of what we deal with within our soul family. I have several Buddhist friends. I have lots of Jewish friends. I have lots of Christian friends. I live in the Bible Belt. But the one thing I should say, the few things that tie all religions together is a belief in an afterlife. I don't think there's not one religion that believes that when you just die, that's just it. Or one faith or one spiritual system, because I really don't think what I do is more of a religion of sorts. It's more of a practice. Um, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's one thing that is prevalent in most cultures and in most practices and most religions. What you do is gonna come back to you, karma. That's prevalent and present in most religions and most cultures and most practices. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. That falls into do unto others. This is common sense shit. My thing about it is that I don't I have issues with weak mindedness. And I feel as though your religion should be something that gives you hope and gives you faith. But if it's something that is required in your life to make you be good, for instance, if you have to have that element of be good or you're going to hell, then that's weak minded. No religion should have to be the thing that like I said, it should be a source of hope and faith and good positive feelings, connection with others, and love. If you need any said religion in order to do good things and to maintain being a good person, then you got a fucking problem. I'm just saying. If that is what is needed to give you moral compass, and you have to, Lord, I got to pray every day not to go out here and steal something, there's a deeper problem, and it's not about religion. If I have to pray every day to be faithful to my husband or wife, it's not, there's a deeper problem. It has nothing to do with religion. If you have to pray every day not to kill a person or rape a person, then there's a deeper problem. It has nothing to do with religion or where you're going after you die. Everybody believes you go somewhere, whether it's that you judged and you go to heaven or hell, or like in the ancient Egyptian religion, your heart is weighed against the feather, and if there's anything that you feel crappy about or just burdening you, you'll go to a bad place, as opposed to going to heaven if your heart is indeed light as a feather. If you We didn't touch on the old religions with the Greek and Roman faiths, where you had different gods that had different powers and were basically explanations for the natural occurrences in life. Apollo pulls the sun, Diane, Demeter, or whoever pulled the moon. You had Poseidon, who ruled the waters. You had Zeus, who ruled all things. You had Hades or who ruled the underworld. You had those same deities in other forms and other names in the Egyptian culture. Um, I mean, you there were different. You know, you had demigods, you had well, and for those of you who do not know, it is not pronounced Hercules. It is Heracles. I'm just saying. It is not Hercules, American people. It is Heracles. And then your gods of love, like Oshun is also a god of love. Aphrodite, Venus, whatever you want to call her, from different cultures, she's present in all cultures. Um, because in Celtic culture, it's you have Diana, and different, you know, you have, it's different. No, any in every different part of the world, there is some original culture that had a polytheistic following where the gods represented or explained things like nature and science and love. So we could go on forever and ever and ever, and you basically at the end of the day can choose what you choose to follow, who you choose to follow, what you choose to worship, and how you believe things. But you still have to be a good person. If you need any external force other than the compass that resides within your heart and soul to determine how to treat people and how to live your life and to be a good person, then there's an underlying problem. I'm just saying. Okay. So there are 6 in the chat. Thank you. I have 7 likes. Is there anybody who has anything to say or any questions or anything I missed or that they didn't understand or that I didn't touch on or anything? Anybody? Then there's always those rulers that declared themselves as God, like the pharaohs. Pharaoh was God. Uh, what's his name? Kim Jong Un. He considers himself a god. Bless his heart. Um, he has those poor people convinced that he don't even shit. That's crazy as fuck. That is seriously crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, let's see. Let me look back at some of the comments I missed. Edith, you talked about, yeah. She felt when Beyonce is doing the Sasha Fierce thing, she is channeling Oshun. All that yellow that she was wearing in her videos and all that yellow is the color of Oshun. And if you find that most of the Orisha are associated with a color. Most of them are associated with a color. So like I said, mine says her main 2 colors for Oya are like a maroon and a purple, but basically the colors of the rainbow, because when there's a storm, you see all different kinds of colors happen in the sky and in nature. So I go with my rainbow because that's what's up. I go with my rainbow. So how are y'all feeling tonight? Does anybody want to do questions? She said mine just purple. I love purple. Yeah, she's just purple or like a maroon and red are her colors. So like at one point, if some of y'all, but it hasn't been since like Maggie, my Margie and Edith, since y'all been around. At first it was purple here and then it was red. And that was in honor of my Oya. Questions, yes. All right. So if nobody's got anything to add, I like this chat. Now look, y'all have got to we're gonna read. I need some interaction. We're gonna have some serious interaction on the next one. The next one will be about ethics and philosophy. Y'all, that's my shit. I love, like, if you watch, like you said, like I told you, I love The Good Place. So Chidi, if on The Good Place, I was so in love with I love that character because the constant, like, he's always talking about Immanuel Kant. I love that because that is like my favorite philosopher. He said some good shit. One of his main theories was that was talks about how you treat other people, and that was really what he focused on. And so I will be in my notebook so I don't lose it this time, refreshing my memory, taking my notes. I still have all my ethics textbook. I still have my ethics textbook. And so I'll be pulling that out. And we'll not just be talking about the actual philosophers and actual ethical um, things. We're going to be talking about different ethical problems that have come up over the years, like one of them that was mentioned in The Good Place, like the ethical thing, the question of, if you have to save, your boat is going down, and you can either save, like, your you can either save your relative or your loved one, or you can save five innocent people that you don't know. So do you let your loved one go to save more people, or do you save your loved one because they mean more to you? Ethical dilemmas. The other thing that we talked about in ethics that came up was like the idea of like the Dr. Kevorkian. Do you let someone die a horrible suffering death, or do you allow that person to choose to, like, take a medication that would let them die without pain? You know what I'm saying? And peacefully. Do you take someone off life support? You know, things like that. And do you, capital murder? Is it okay to kill the person that killed five people? Is any one murder any better than the other murder? Is it not still murder? Okay. Yes, I know who Jason Silva is. We'll touch on that too. We'll talk about him. Like I said, you got Aristotle, Immanuel Kant, uh, oh goodness, there are so many. There are so many, and I can't right now. All right, I'm still reeling from the religions because there's so many of them, and I think I about covered everything that we're all dealing with in our current culture. I don't think I really missed anybody. I think I did good. So yeah, I'm gonna check. I've heard of him, but I really haven't done. I really haven't checked out his channel or anything like that. All right, all right. So I'm gonna log off, take a potty break, and then we're gonna look. Y'all are donating already, and then I'm gonna log back on for questions. All right. So give me 3 minutes. I'll click off, click back on, and you should see it there. Love you. I enjoy y'all. I enjoy this. Yes, we talked about Hoodoo. Edith, you missed it. You got to scroll back. I went through the lower. I went through the lower, and I talked about how it linked and how it was linked in certain cultures, and especially in the Creole culture, to Catholicism. I did, Edith. You missed it. Ow! Oh, my leg went to sleep.